Few places on Earth remain as secretive as North Korea, a country sealed from the modern world, ruled by fear and loyalty. We see satellite images and fleeting news reports, but what is daily life truly like for the millions of people living inside its borders? Today, we're peeling back the layers of propaganda to uncover the realities of life in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Let's start with the heart of North Korean society, the Songbun system. This isn't just a social class, it's a caste system that dictates your destiny from birth. It classifies every citizen into one of three main groups: the core class, the wavering class, and the hostile class. Your Songbun is based on your family's political loyalty and actions during the Korean War. If your ancestors were revolutionary heroes, you're in the core class, with access to better jobs, housing, and education in Pyongyang. But if your great-grandfather was a landowner or collaborated with the Japanese, you're branded as hostile, and your life is a constant struggle for basic survival, often in the country's harshest regions. This system isn't just a label. It determines where you can live, what you can study, and who you can marry. It's a generational prison, a ghost of the past that controls the present. Now, imagine a world without the internet as we know it. In North Korea, there's no Google, no YouTube, no Instagram. Instead, they have a nationwide intranet called Kwangmyong, or Bright Star. It's a walled garden, completely cut off from the global web. It hosts a few dozen government-approved websites, including a state-run social network, an email service, and news sites that deliver a constant stream of state propaganda. For the average North Korean, this is their entire digital universe. Access to the real internet is a privilege reserved for a tiny elite group of high-ranking officials and researchers. This information vacuum is a powerful tool of control, ensuring that the state's narrative is the only one people hear. What about the economy? Officially, North Korea operates under a centrally planned socialist system. But in reality, since the devastating famine of the 1990s, a new, unofficial market economy has blossomed out of necessity. These informal markets, it's called Jangmadang, started as small-scale bartering operations where people traded household goods for food. Today, they are vibrant, sprawling hubs of grassroots capitalism. Here, you can find everything from smuggled Chinese electronics and South Korean cosmetics to locally grown produce and handmade goods. These markets are technically illegal, but the government often turns a blind eye because they have become essential for the survival of the population. It's a fascinating paradox. A nation officially committed to communism, yet kept afloat by the very capitalist activities it condemns. Despite the immense hardship and control, the human spirit endures. Defectors tell stories not just of oppression, but also of quiet resistance, acts of kindness, and an unshakable desire for a better life. They describe secret viewings of smuggled South Korean dramas, which offer a tantalizing glimpse of a different world, a world of freedom, fashion, and romance. These dramas are so popular they've been called a cultural Trojan horse, slowly chipping away at the state's carefully constructed reality. The people of North Korea are not a monolith. They are individuals with hopes, dreams, and a resilience that is truly extraordinary. Their story is one of struggle, but it's also a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to find light even in the darkest of places. Today, we're delving into the story of one of the world's most enduring political dynasties, the Kim family of North Korea. How did one family come to rule a nation for over 3/4 of a century? Our story begins in the aftermath of World War II. The Korean peninsula, once under Japanese rule, was divided. The Soviet Union occupied the north, and the United States occupied the south. In the north, the Soviets supported a young, charismatic anti-Japanese guerrilla fighter named Kim Il-sung. By 1948, he was installed as the leader of the newly formed Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or DPRK. From the very beginning, Kim Il-sung's goal was not just to rule, but to create a legacy. He developed a powerful state ideology called Jukki, which translates to self-reliance. This philosophy emphasized national independence in defense, politics, and economics. It became the bedrock of North Korean society, demanding absolute loyalty not just to the state, but to the leader himself. A massive cult of personality was built around him, portraying him as a benevolent, godlike figure, the great leader. His image was everywhere, and his history was mythologized. The Korean War, from 1950 to 1953, solidified his power. Although the war ended in a stalemate, state propaganda painted it as a heroic victory against American imperialism, further cementing Kim Il-sung's status as the nation's protector. He wasn't just a political leader. He was the father of the nation. But a dynasty needs an heir. As Kim Il-sung aged, he began grooming his eldest son, Kim Jong-il. This was a crucial moment. In most communist states, power passed to another high-ranking party official. But in North Korea, Kim Il-sung was establishing a hereditary succession, a move more typical of a monarchy. Kim Jong-il was gradually given more and more responsibility, referred to as the dear leader. When Kim Il-sung passed away in 1994, the transition of power was seamless. Kim Jong-il's rule was marked by immense challenges. Most notably, a severe famine in the 1990s, known as the Arduous March. Despite this, he maintained his grip on power through his Songun, or military-first policy. He prioritized the Korean People's Army, strengthening the military and accelerating the nation's nuclear weapons program. This strategy was twofold. It ensured internal security and gave North Korea a powerful deterrent on the international stage, making it a force to be reckoned with. Just like his father, Kim Jong-il prepared for the next generation. His youngest son, Kim Jong-un, was largely unknown to the outside world until he was suddenly unveiled as the heir apparent. When Kim Jong-il passed away in 2011, Kim Jong-un, then in his late 20s, became the supreme leader. Many international observers were skeptical. Would this young, inexperienced leader be able to command the respect of the country's powerful generals and elites? Kim Jong-un quickly consolidated his power, continuing his father's and grandfather's policies. He has overseen further advancements in the country's missile and nuclear programs, while also attempting to navigate complex international diplomacy, including historic summits with world leaders. He maintains the cult of personality, ensuring that the legacy of his father and grandfather is ever present. From Kim Il-sung's guerrilla warfare to Kim Jong-il's military-first policy. And now to Kim Jong-un's blend of nuclear ambition and diplomacy. The Kim dynasty has shown a remarkable ability to adapt and survive. It's a story of ideology, power, and family that has shaped a nation for 3 generations, making North Korea one of the most unique and talked-about countries in the world. Have you ever wondered what it's like to live in a place where one person is at the center of everything? Imagine a world built around a single figure, where their image and ideology permeate every aspect of daily life. It's a reality for millions, and it starts from the very first day. From birth, citizens are taught a profound reverence for their leader. This isn't just about respect. It's a deep-seated devotion woven into the fabric of society. Think about your own school days. Now picture classrooms where the lessons are intertwined with songs of praise for one individual. Children learn hymns, not about nursery rhymes, but about the greatness and wisdom of their leader. His portrait isn't just in government buildings. It's a mandatory fixture in every single home, a constant, silent presence watching over the family. Public life is a spectacle of coordinated adoration. Picture massive parades filling grand city squares, not for a holiday or a sports victory, but to celebrate the leader. Thousands of people move in perfect unison, a breathtaking display of discipline and unity. Above them, unfurled banners display giant portraits, some so large they cover the entire side of a building. The scale is immense, designed to inspire awe and reinforce the leader's larger-than-life status. In these moments, individuality fades into a powerful, collective expression of loyalty. The iconography is everywhere. Statues, often cast in bronze and towering over public spaces, depict the leader in heroic pose, pointing toward a brighter future, interacting with cheerful children, or standing resolute against unseen foes. These aren't just monuments. They are sacred sites. It's common to see citizens, from young children to the elderly, approaching these statues with solemnity, laying flowers at their base, and bowing deeply in a gesture of profound respect. This act of bowing is taught from a young age, normalizing a physical expression of subservience and admiration. Even the architecture seems to pay homage. Buildings are often grand and imposing, designed to project strength and permanence. At night, cities are bathed in a warm, golden light. This isn't just for illumination. It's a carefully crafted aesthetic. The glowing lights create an almost divine atmosphere, casting the leader's monuments and portraits in a reverential glow. It transforms the urban landscape into a living shrine, reinforcing the idea of the leader as a benevolent, almost celestial guide. This system of indoctrination is so complete that it shapes how people think, what they believe, and how they see their place in the world. The leader is presented as a parental figure, the provider, and the ultimate source of all prosperity and happiness. The nation's successes are his personal triumphs. Its struggles are the fault of external enemies. This narrative is repeated relentlessly through state-controlled media, in schools, and at mandatory community gatherings. Life within such a system is a complex tapestry of genuine belief, social pressure, and survival instinct. For those born into it, this reality is all they have ever known. The leader's omnipresence is as natural as the sun rising. Questioning it isn't just dissent. It's a challenge to the very foundation of their world. It's a fascinating and often sobering. Look at the power of personality and the mechanisms that sustain it across generations. Thanks so much for joining me on this exploration. They say silence is golden, but here, it's the currency of survival. Look around. The streets are empty, yet never truly alone. Every corner, every shadow holds a silent observer. We march in unison, a symphony of compliance, our steps echoing in the hollow boulevards. Have you ever wondered what lies beyond the concrete and the quiet hum of the cameras? We're told this is for our protection. That the watchful eyes in the sky and the cold steel of the fences are a comforting embrace, keeping chaos at bay. We trade whispers for safety, curiosity for contentment. We walk the lines drawn for us, our gazes fixed forward, because looking astray, asking a question, is a risk few are willing to take. But is a life without questions truly a life lived? The narratives we are fed paint a picture of utopia, of a perfect society built on order and obedience. We see the posters, we hear the broadcasts. They tell us we are safe, that we are united. And in many ways, it feels true. There is no crime on these streets, no dissent. But there's also no laughter that rings too loud, no art that colors outside the lines, no debate that challenges the status quo. Our world is perfectly curated, a flawless, sterile gallery where we are the exhibits. Every movement is watched. Every word is recorded. In this land, silence is safety. Curiosity can cost your life. This system wasn't built in a day. It was built brick by brick, law by law, with our silent consent. It began with the promise of security, a promise to shield us from the world's uncertainties, and we accepted. We welcomed the cameras, the patrols, the rigid order because we were afraid. Fear is a powerful architect. But deep down, a flicker of the old world remains. A memory of a time when streets were filled with spontaneous joy, when opinions clashed in vibrant discussion, when privacy was a right, not a privilege. We see it in the fleeting glances between strangers, a shared, unspoken understanding. The human spirit, the desire for freedom, is a stubborn flame. It can be suppressed, hidden, and starved of oxygen, but it is incredibly difficult to extinguish. They want us to believe this is the only way, the best way. But what if it's not? What if the real danger isn't the chaos they warn us about, but the suffocating order they've imposed. The barbed wire isn't just to keep things out. It's to keep us in, to keep our minds from wandering. The true prison isn't the one with walls of concrete, but the one built in our own minds, fortified by fear and apathy. Perhaps the most dangerous act in this world isn't one of defiance, but one of simple inquiry. To ask, why? To look up at the camera and not see a protector, but a jailer. To see the person marching next to you not as a component in a machine, but as an individual with their own forgotten dreams. That is where the change begins. Not with a bang, but with a question, a thought that dares to break the silence. Imagine a city where the government's voice never sleeps. Loudspeakers are mounted on every corner, broadcasting official messages day and night. Bright red posters adorned with the face of a single, ever-watchful leader cover every available wall. On every TV screen, in every home and public square, that same leader speaks, his words met with synchronized, rhythmic clapping from the citizens. This isn't a scene from a distant, fictional dystopia. It's a reality that has shaped, and in some places, continues to shape, millions of lives. Propaganda, in its most potent form, isn't just about posters or broadcasts. It's an immersive environment. It's the air you breathe, the songs you hear, the news you consume. The goal is to create a singular, unified narrative that becomes so pervasive it feels like the only truth. It flows through every TV, every radio, and eventually seeps into every dream. This constant stream of information is designed to mold thought, to align individual will with the state's, and to eliminate doubt. When the official message is the only one available, it becomes more than just information. It becomes reality itself. Let's break down how this works. The loudspeakers create a sense of inescapable presence. The government is always with you, its voice a constant companion. The red posters, with their bold colors and a single, powerful image, are a form of psychological branding. They associate the leader with strength, stability, and patriotism, making any opposition feel like a betrayal of the nation itself. The televised speeches, met with performative applause, create a powerful illusion of consensus. If everyone around you is clapping, you're more likely to clap too, even if you have reservations. It's a social pressure machine, engineered to enforce conformity. You start to question your own feelings. Am I the only one who feels this way? This creates what psychologists call a spiral of silence. People who hold dissenting opinions become afraid to voice them, fearing isolation or punishment. As they stay quiet, the illusion of unanimous support for the regime grows stronger, which in turn encourages even more people to remain silent. It's a self-perpetuating cycle. The media, entirely state-controlled, plays a crucial role. It doesn't just report the news. It crafts a narrative. Triumphs are exaggerated, failures are hidden, and enemies, both internal and external, are fabricated to foster a sense of unity against a common threat. Citizens are fed a diet of carefully selected information that reinforces the state's power and righteousness. So, why is it important for us to understand this? Because the principles of propaganda, though more subtle, exist everywhere. It's in the advertising that shapes our desires, the social media algorithms that create echo chambers, and the political rhetoric that simplifies complex issues into us versus them. By recognizing the mechanics of total control in most extreme forms, we can become more critical consumers of information in our own lives. We can learn to question a single narrative, to seek out diverse perspectives, and to value the freedom of thought that allows for dissent and debate. The antidote to propaganda isn't a counter-propaganda. It's critical thinking. It's the courage to ask questions, even when everyone else is clapping. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. If this topic sparked your interest, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What are some modern examples of these techniques you've noticed? Have you ever seen a picture of the Earth from space at night? It's a breathtaking sight, a sparkling tapestry of city lights that tells the story of human civilization. But if you look closely at the Korean Peninsula, you'll see something striking, something that tells a much different story. There, nestled between the brilliant glows of China and South Korea, is an almost complete patch of darkness. At night, North Korea practically vanishes, becoming a literal black hole on the map of the modern world. This stark visual isn't just about a lack of streetlights. It's a powerful symbol of a nation's isolation and the severe challenges its people face. So, why is North Korea so dark? The primary reason is a chronic and severe energy crisis. The country's power infrastructure is outdated and crumbling. Decades of economic mismanagement, international sanctions, and a focus on military spending over public welfare have left the power grid in a state of disrepair. Most of the electricity generated comes from aging, inefficient Soviet-era hydroelectric and coal-fired power plants. When rivers freeze in the winter or drought hits in the summer, the hydroelectric output plummets. Coal is often in short supply, and even when it's available, the grid is too fragile to deliver power reliably across the country. For the average North Korean, this means electricity is a rare and unpredictable luxury. Outside of the capital, Pyongyang, where the elite and government facilities get prioritized power, many homes have electricity for only a few hours a day, if at all. People rely on solar panels, car batteries, or small, often smuggled, generators to power a single light bulb or charge a phone. Life doesn't stop when the sun goes down, but it becomes incredibly difficult. Imagine trying to study, cook, or simply navigate your home in near total darkness every single night. This energy poverty has a devastating ripple effect on every aspect of life. Factories can't operate at full capacity, hindering economic development. Hospitals struggle to run essential medical equipment, putting lives at risk. Without power for irrigation pumps, agriculture suffers, worsening the nation's chronic food shortages. It's a vicious cycle where the lack of energy stifles progress and perpetuates hardship. The contrast with its southern neighbor is staggering. South Korea, just a few miles across the demilitarized zone, is one of the most brightly lit, technologically advanced, and economically vibrant nations on Earth. Its cities, like Seoul, are ablaze with light 24/7, a testament to its prosperity and interconnectedness with the global community. The same Korean people, separated by a line on a map drawn over 70 years ago, live in two completely different worlds. The border at night isn't just a political line. It's a visible boundary between light and dark, opportunity and isolation, the 21st century and a time gone by. This nighttime image from space does more than just show an energy disparity. It illustrates the profound isolation of North Korea, while the rest of the world is connected by networks of trade, information, and culture all powered by electricity. North Korea remains deliberately unplugged. The darkness is a physical manifestation of a government's choice to keep its people in the dark, both literally and figuratively. Looking at that dark patch on the map is a humbling and thought-provoking experience. It's a quiet, powerful reminder of the challenges faced by 26 million people and the deep divisions that still exist in our modern world. It forces us to appreciate things we often take for granted, like flipping a switch and having light. Video opens with cinematic, somber visuals, towering prison walls, razor wire glinting in harsh light, armed soldiers patrolling with stoic expressions, and close-ups of people's faces, tears silently tracing paths down their cheeks. The mood is heavy and oppressive. Fear is not a crime here, it is the law. Millions live in quiet terror, never knowing who will disappear next. A whispered word, a glance held too long, a book deemed forbidden. Any of these can be a one-way ticket to a place from which there is no return. This isn't a scene from a dystopian movie. For countless individuals around the world, this is the stark, brutal reality of life under authoritarian rule. It's a world where the state doesn't just govern your actions, it seeks to own your very thoughts, your soul. Imagine waking up every morning with a knot in your stomach, The news on the state-run television channel sings praises of a leader you know is a tyrant. Your neighbors, once friends, now eye you with suspicion. Who among them is an informant? Who is reporting on your conversations, your expressions, your very existence? Children are taught to revere the state above their own family, turning the home, the last bastion of safety, into another front of surveillance. This pervasive, all-encompassing fear is designed to do one thing: break the human spirit. It isolates you, making you feel utterly alone in your suffering, convincing you that resistance is not just futile, but unthinkable. This system of control is built on a foundation of lies. History is rewritten, facts are distorted, and an alternate reality is constructed and enforced through relentless propaganda. They tell you that freedom is slavery, that ignorance is strength, and that the constant surveillance is for your own protection. They tell you that the enemies are everywhere outside the borders and lurking within your own community. This creates a state of perpetual crisis, a psychological siege where the government presents itself as the only savior. The truth becomes a dangerous commodity, and those who dare to seek it are branded as traitors, saboteurs, or enemies of the people. But here is a truth that no regime, no matter how powerful, can ever extinguish. The human spirit is resilient. Even in the darkest of places, sparks of courage ignite. It might be a teacher secretly sharing a banned poem, a mother humming a forbidden lullaby to her child, or a group of friends quietly sharing real news from a crackling shortwave radio. These small acts of defiance are monumental. They are declarations that say, "You do not own me. My mind is still my own." It's in these moments that the seeds of change are sown. History is filled with examples of seemingly invincible regimes crumbling, not from a massive army, but from the collective weight of countless small acts of courage. These brave individuals are not superheroes. They're ordinary people, students, factory workers, doctors, artists who made an extraordinary choice. They chose dignity over submission. They chose truth over comfort. Many pay the ultimate price for this choice. They disappear into the gulags, the labor camps, the unmarked graves. They become statistics in a report that the world may never see. We must not let their sacrifice be in vain. Their stories need to be told. Their names need to be remembered. We who live in freedom have a moral obligation to be their voice, to shine a light on the darkness that tries to consume them. So, what can we do? It can feel overwhelming, but our actions matter. We can support organizations that fight for human rights and provide aid to political prisoners and their families. We can amplify the voices of dissidents and journalists who risk everything to get the truth out. We can educate ourselves and others, refusing to accept the sanitized narratives presented by oppressive governments. We must demand that our own leaders prioritize human rights in their foreign policy, holding these regimes accountable for their abuses. Never underestimate the power of global pressure. A letter, a protest, a shared article, it all adds up, creating a chorus of solidarity that can penetrate even the thickest prison walls. It tells those who are suffering that they are not forgotten. Thank you for watching and for taking the time to understand this critical issue. It's a heavy topic, but awareness is the first step toward change. Upbeat, inspiring music begins. Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a journey into the heart of the mountains, but not for the reasons you might think. We're exploring the incredible stories of resilience, teamwork, and the unbreakable human spirit found in some of the world's most remote communities. Imagine this. You're high in the mountains, surrounded by breathtaking, snow-covered peaks. The air is crisp and cold. For the people who call these places home, life isn't just about admiring the view. It's about coming together, supporting one another, and building a strong, tight-knit community against the odds. Every day presents a new challenge, a new opportunity to prove how powerful unity can be. In these isolated settlements, you won't find bustling city streets. Instead, you'll see people working hand in hand, their footsteps in the snow marking a shared path forward. They build their homes, cultivate their land, and create a life that's rich in connection and purpose. It's a place where loyalty isn't just a word. It's the foundation of their entire society. Each person's contribution, no matter how small, is valued because they know that their collective strength is their greatest asset. Think about the sheer determination it takes to thrive in such an environment. It's a powerful lesson for all of us. When we face challenges in our own lives, it's easy to feel isolated. But these mountain communities show us that when we lean on each other, when we trust and support our friends and neighbors, there's nothing we can't overcome. It's a testament to the idea that true wealth isn't measured in material possessions, but in the bonds we forge and the love we share. These stories aren't just about survival. They are about flourishing. They are about finding joy in shared accomplishments and celebrating the strength that comes from unity. It's a beautiful reminder that no matter where we are or what challenges we face, the most valuable thing we have is each other. Life, in its purest form, is about connection, and that is truly priceless. These communities are a shining example of how, even in the harshest conditions, the human spirit can create a world filled with hope, collaboration, and profound meaning. It's a powerful message that we can all carry with us. Have you ever wondered where a country's money really goes? You see images of grand parades, gleaming new tanks, and fighter jets soaring through the sky. You hear news reports about advanced missile tests and soldiers marching in perfect unison. It can look impressive, a powerful display of national strength. But there's often another side to that story, one that isn't shown in the official broadcasts. Behind the curtain of military might, there are often millions of people struggling just to get by, while billions are poured into developing the next generation of weapons. Families might be wondering where their next meal will come from. Hospitals may lack basic supplies, schools might be crumbling, and clean water could be a luxury, not a right. It's a stark and heartbreaking contrast. The very purpose of a nation is to protect and provide for its people. But when the focus shifts so heavily towards projecting power, the fundamental needs of the population can be tragically overlooked. Think about it this way. Every dollar spent on a missile is a dollar not spent on a bushel of grain. Every hour of research dedicated to a new fighter jet is an hour not spent on medical innovation or building better infrastructure for communities. When a government consistently prioritizes its arsenal over its citizens' welfare, it sends a clear and painful message that the image of strength is more important than the actual strength and health of its people. Power, in this case, doesn't come from the people. It's wielded over them. This isn't a new story. It's a pattern we've seen throughout history. Regimes that feel insecure or want to dominate their neighbors often fall into this trap. They believe that a formidable military is the ultimate insurance policy. But what are they really protecting? A nation is not just its borders or its government. It's the collective well-being of its citizens. A truly strong nation is one where people are educated, healthy, and have the opportunity to thrive. It's a place where a child's future is a greater national investment than a new submarine. We see the propaganda footage of soldiers training and missiles launching, and we're told it's for national defense. But we must always ask, defense from what and at what cost? Sometimes the greatest threat to a people isn't an external enemy, but a system at home that has lost its way, a system where the government's ambitions come before the people's survival. The real measure of a nation's greatness isn't the size of its army, but the well-being of its most vulnerable citizens. When a government forgets that, it fails its most basic and sacred duty. Imagine a world without the internet. No Google, no YouTube, no social media. For most of us, it's unimaginable. But for 26 million people in North Korea, it's their daily reality. They live in a country where the global internet is a forbidden luxury, replaced by a state-controlled intranet called Kwangmyong. In Kim Jong-un's North Korea, there is no real internet. Only the news the regime allows. Truth has been replaced by obedience. So, what exactly is this Kwangmyong? Think of it as a giant, walled garden. It's a closed network, completely sealed off from the rest of the world. Instead of endless websites, users get a handful of carefully curated portals. These include a state-run news agency, a weather forecast site, an e-library with state-approved texts, and even a cooking site. But every single piece of information is vetted, censored, and designed to reinforce the government's narrative. There are no opposing viewpoints, no international news that hasn't been filtered, and certainly no way to connect with the outside world. It's an echo chamber of propaganda, operating 24/7. Access to this limited network isn't even for everyone. In a country with widespread poverty and frequent power outages, owning a computer is a privilege reserved for the elite higher-ranking officials, university students, and scientists. For the average citizen, the idea of surfing the web is as foreign as space travel. They get their information from state television, radio, and newspapers, which all broadcast the same government-approved message. The information divide isn't just between North Korea and the world, it's a chasm within the country itself. But what about the real internet? Does anyone get access? Yes, but only a tiny select few. The absolute top tier of the regime, certain diplomats, and specialized researchers are granted permission to access the global internet. But this access is heavily monitored. Every click, every search, every message is tracked. It's a tool for the state to keep an eye on the outside world, not for citizens to broaden their horizons. For these few, the internet is not a window to freedom, but a leash held tightly by the regime. This digital isolation has profound consequences. Generations have grown up completely unaware of global culture, current events, or different political systems. They're taught that their leaders are infallible and that their country is a paradise, while the outside world, particularly South Korea and the United States, is depicted as corrupt and hostile. This information blockade is one of the most powerful tools the regime uses to maintain control, preventing dissent before it can even take root. When you don't know that another reality is possible, you're less likely to question your own. However, human ingenuity is a powerful force. Despite the extreme risks, cracks are appearing in this digital wall. Defectors and organizations smuggle in USB drives and SD cards loaded with foreign movies, South Korean dramas, and encyclopedias like Wikipedia. These information packages are passed from person to person, creating a secret, offline network of knowledge. For many North Koreans, a simple USB stick can be their first ever glimpse of the outside world. A dangerous but life-changing act of rebellion. It's a slow and perilous process, but it shows that the hunger for truth and connection can't be completely extinguished, even in the most isolated corner of the globe. The story of North Korea's internet is a stark reminder of how information can be weaponized to control a population. It highlights the incredible value of the open, global internet we often take for granted. So next time you're scrolling, searching, or connecting with someone across the world, take a moment to appreciate that freedom. Imagine a line just 2.5 miles wide, yet it separates families, ideologies, and entire worlds. This is the Korean Demilitarized Zone, the DMZ. It's often called the world's most heavily guarded border. A place where tension hangs heavy in the air, a constant, silent hum. You see dramatic scenes of soldiers facing each other, a standoff that has lasted for over 70 years. It's a surreal landscape, a scar on the Korean peninsula where nature has reclaimed the land, but peace has not. This isn't just a political line on a map, it's a profound human tragedy. Behind the barbed wire and landmines are stories of people, of families torn apart by a war that never officially ended. Grandparents who have never met their grandchildren. Brothers and sisters living under vastly different skies, wondering if they'll ever see each other again. The division isn't just concrete and wire, it's etched into the hearts of millions. It's a daily ache, a hope that flickers against the odds. The desire for freedom, for a different life, is one of the most powerful forces on Earth. For some, It becomes a desperate gamble against impossible odds. Some risk everything to escape crossing frozen rivers under the cover of darkness, dodging bullets and patrols just for a taste of the freedom most of us take for granted. Each story of escape is a testament to the incredible resilience of the human spirit. They leave behind everything they've ever known, propelled by the hope of a life where they can speak, think, and dream freely. Think about that for a moment. What does freedom mean to you? For many of us, it's an abstract concept, something we've always had. But for those on the other side of this line, it's a tangible, life-altering prize. It's the freedom to choose your own path, to connect with the outside world, to simply be yourself without fear. Their journey is a harrowing reminder of the price of liberty and the deep, universal human yearning for self-determination. Modern, bustling cities thrive just a short drive away from this line of conflict. But the shadow of the North is always present. There are regular civil defense drills, and the division is a constant topic in news and conversation. It's a paradox, living a vibrant, free life while knowing that just miles away, your countrymen live in a completely different reality. This proximity creates a deep sense of empathy and a powerful, enduring hope for reunification. The dream of a unified Korea is more than just a political goal. It's a profound cultural and emotional longing. It's a hope that one day the fences will come down, the landmines will be cleared, and families will be reunited. A day when Koreans, North and South, can share their common heritage without a border dividing them. It's a dream of healing, of making the peninsula whole again. The path is uncertain, and the challenges are immense. But the hope for a peaceful future, a future without this scar, remains the ultimate aspiration for the Korean people. Every year, a few brave souls try to escape. They cross frozen rivers, snow-covered mountains, or heavily guarded electric fences. The journey is perilous. Many fail, and some vanish forever into the unforgiving landscape. But those who make it, they carry stories the world must hear. These aren't just stories of survival. They're testaments to the unyielding power of the human spirit in its quest for freedom. Imagine being born in a place where your thoughts are not your own, where your future is decided for you, and where the outside world is a forbidden mystery. This is the reality for millions. For them, escape isn't a choice. It's a necessity, a desperate gamble for a life they can only dream of. The journey often begins under the cover of darkness, with a heart pounding in both fear and hope. The first major obstacle is often a river, a natural border that is both a gateway and a grave. In winter, it freezes, but the ice can be thin and treacherous. In summer, the currents are strong, and patrol boats are a constant threat. Those who successfully cross the river find themselves in a foreign land, usually China. But their ordeal is far from over. They are now undocumented, illegal, and vulnerable. They live in the shadows, constantly fearing discovery and repatriation, which for them is a fate worse than death. They must rely on the kindness of strangers and the clandestine networks of brokers and activists, a modern-day underground railroad. Every step is a risk, every new face a potential friend or foe. They must learn new languages, adapt to new cultures, and suppress the constant paranoia of being caught. From China, the journey often continues through the dense jungles of Southeast Asia, a grueling trek that can last for weeks or even months. They battle exhaustion, starvation, and tropical diseases, all while evading local authorities. They walk through Laos, Cambodia, or Vietnam, hoping to reach an embassy in a country like Thailand, where they can finally seek asylum. Think about that for a second. After escaping one of the most repressive regimes on Earth, they still have to navigate thousands of miles of hostile territory just for a chance at safety. But what happens when they finally reach freedom? The challenges don't just disappear. They arrive in a new country, often South Korea or the United States. With nothing but the clothes on their backs and the trauma of their past, they face immense culture shock. The simple act of choosing what to eat at a grocery store or using a smartphone can be overwhelming. They grapple with loneliness, the guilt of leaving loved ones behind, and the psychological scars of a lifetime of indoctrination and hardship. Many suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, yet their resilience is truly extraordinary. They learn new skills, find jobs, and build new lives from scratch. They become doctors, artists, activists, and entrepreneurs. They share their stories not for pity, but to shed light on the darkness they left behind and to give a voice to the voiceless. Their courage reminds us of the universal desire for liberty and the incredible price some are willing to pay for it. The world watches. At the United Nations, diplomats debate in hushed tones. Headlines flash across our screens, announcing new sanctions, new negotiations, new hopes for a breakthrough. We see images of grand military parades in Pyongyang, rockets pointing to the sky, and stern-faced leaders on balconies. It all feels so dramatic, so significant. It feels like something must be changing. But behind the curtain, beyond the carefully staged photo ops and the international political theater, lies a reality that has remained stubbornly frozen in time. For the millions of ordinary people living inside North Korea, the world's debates are a distant echo. The sanctions meant to pressure the regime often end up squeezing the lives of those who already have so little. Imagine living in a place where your entire world is curated for you. The news you hear, the music you listen to, the history you learn, it's all part of a single state-approved narrative. There is no internet as we know it. No way to simply Google a question or message a friend in another country. Your neighbors might be your friends, or they might be informants. A wrong word, a misplaced criticism, could lead to consequences not just for you, but for your entire family, for generations. This isn't a dystopian novel. It's the daily calculus of survival for millions. While the world speculates about nuclear codes and leadership changes, a mother in a rural village is simply trying to figure out how to feed her children for one more day. We often hear about defectors who risk everything for a chance at freedom. Their stories are harrowing and inspiring. They speak of a life of constant surveillance, of public executions used to enforce obedience, and of a deep, gnawing hunger that is both physical and spiritual. A hunger for food, yes, but also a hunger for information, for truth, for the simple freedom to choose one's own path. These are the voices that slip through the cracks, the ones that paint a picture far removed from the grandstanding we see on the global stage. They remind us that behind the political entity we call North Korea, there are 25 million individual human beings, each with their own dreams, fears, and hopes. The international community has tried sanctions, they've tried aid, they've tried talks, and yet the fundamental structure of the state remains unshaken. The walls, both physical and psychological, remain as high as ever. The information blockade is so complete that many inside the country may not even be aware of how the rest of the world perceives them. They are taught from birth that their nation is a paradise, besieged by hostile foreign enemies, and that their dear leader is a benevolent, almost godlike figure who provides for their every need. To question this is to question the very fabric of your reality. So what does this all mean? It means that while we follow the geopolitical chess game, we must never forget the human cost. The story of North Korea isn't just about missiles and summits. It's about the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable control. It's about the quiet, desperate hope for a day when the walls finally come down. Not because of a foreign power, but because the desire for a normal life becomes too strong to contain. In the heart of East Asia lies a nation shrouded in mystery, ruled by a dynasty that has held power for over 70 years. North Korea. At its helm, Kim Jong-un, a leader whose image is one of absolute control. We see the grand military parades, the cheering crowds, the seemingly unbreakable grip on 26 million people. From the outside, it looks like a perfectly orchestrated, unchanging reality. But what if I told you that beneath this ironclad surface, tiny, almost invisible cracks are beginning to appear. For decades, the Kim regime has maintained control through a potent mix of state propaganda, information blackouts, and the ever-present threat of punishment. The people were taught to see their leaders as godlike figures, protectors of a socialist paradise against a hostile outside world. Every song, every movie, every school lesson reinforced this single narrative. Information was a state monopoly. But in the 21st century, even the most fortified walls have proven porous. The digital revolution, which has reshaped our world, is slowly, secretly, seeping into North Korea. It started small, smuggled Chinese cell phones near the border, allowing fleeting calls with relatives who had escaped. Then came the USB drives and SD cards, passed from hand to hand, hidden in clothing or disguised as everyday objects. They became vessels of a different reality. On these tiny memory sticks, a new world unfolds. South Korean dramas reveal lives of freedom, romance, and material comfort that are unimaginable in the North. Hollywood blockbusters showcase action and ideas that defy state control. News clips and documentaries offer alternative perspectives on world events, chipping away at the official government narrative. These aren't just entertainment. They are windows into a world the regime has desperately tried to hide. When you see people in Seoul driving their own cars, choosing their own careers, and speaking their minds freely, it's natural to start questioning your own reality. Young people, in particular, are growing up with a dual consciousness. They perform the required loyalty in public, but in private, they hum the tunes of K-pop and mimic the slang from Southern dramas. This is a quiet cultural rebellion. The regime knows this is happening, and they are terrified. They've enacted harsh laws, with severe punishments for anyone caught with foreign media. Public crackdowns and new surveillance technologies are constantly being deployed. But it's like trying to hold water in a clenched fist. The desire for information, for connection, for a different life is a powerful human instinct. For every USB drive they confiscate, 2 more seem to cross the border. Economic changes are also playing a crucial role. The collapse of the state-run economy in the 1990s forced people to fend for themselves. This gave rise to grassroots markets, or Jangmaedang. In these bustling marketplaces, people don't just trade goods, they trade information. They talk, they gossip, they share what they've seen and heard. This creates horizontal networks of communication that bypass the state, fostering a sense of shared experience and quiet solidarity. So, where does this leave us? We're not talking about an imminent revolution tomorrow. The state security apparatus is still overwhelmingly powerful, but what we are seeing is a profound generational shift in mindset. The old guard's absolute loyalty is being replaced by the youth's curiosity and skepticism. The government's monopoly on truth has been broken, and once broken, it's nearly impossible to fully repair. The future of North Korea will not be decided by foreign powers or grand political maneuvers alone. It will be shaped by these millions of quiet, individual acts of defiance. Every forbidden movie watched, every secret song listened to, every conversation whispered in a marketplace. Power isn't just about missiles and military might. It's also about controlling the narrative. And Kim Jong-un is slowly losing control of that narrative. The question is no longer if change will come to North Korea, but when and how it will finally unfold. Imagine a country where the clock seems to have stopped, where one man's word is law, and his image is everywhere, from the tallest buildings to the smallest homes. This is North Korea, a nation sealed off from the world, ruled by Kim Jong-un with an iron fist. On the surface, it's a picture of perfect order. Millions march in unison, cheering for their leader, a spectacle of absolute control. But if you look closer, just beneath that flawless surface, you'll find cracks beginning to form. The power of a dictator, no matter how absolute it seems, has its limits. And the biggest threat to that power isn't an army or a foreign nation. It's something much quieter, much more subtle: information. For decades, the Kim dynasty has maintained control by building a wall around its people, not just with barbed wire, but with a blockade of ideas. They've crafted a reality where their leaders are godlike, and the outside world is a wicked, crumbling mess. But that wall is starting to crumble. How? Through whispers and secret signals. USB drives, no bigger than your thumb, are being smuggled across the border. These tiny devices are digital bombshells, loaded with South Korean dramas, Hollywood movies, and news from the outside world. They are passed from hand to hand in secret, shared in the dark of night. For the first time, many North Koreans are seeing a different reality. They're seeing people who can choose their own jobs, speak their minds, and fall in love without the state's approval. They're seeing a world of color, freedom, and possibility that they were told didn't exist. This isn't just about entertainment. It's a slow, silent education. Each movie, each news report chips away at the decades of propaganda. People start to ask questions. Why is our country so poor when South Korea is so rich? Why are we told to hate Americans when the movies show them as ordinary people? These questions, once unthinkable, are now being whispered in trusted company. The state's narrative, once the only truth, is now competing with a flood of new information. And it's not just digital media. The black markets, known as Jangmadang, have become more than just places to buy food. They are hubs of connection and communication. Here, people trade goods, but they also trade rumors and news from the border regions. They learn what's really happening in the country beyond the perfect picture painted by state television. This economic activity, born out of necessity, has created a space where the state's control is weaker. It has fostered a sense of independence and resourcefulness among ordinary people. Of course, the risks are enormous. Being caught with foreign media can lead to a labor camp, or worse. The regime knows the danger these small acts of defiance pose. They conduct random raids, check computers, and encourage neighbors to spy on each other. It's a constant battle of wits, a high-stakes game of cat and mouse played out in the shadows of every town and city. Yet, the flow of information continues. The desire for truth is a powerful force, and people are willing to risk everything for a glimpse of it. So what does this all mean for the future? Change in North Korea won't likely be a dramatic, overnight revolution like we've seen elsewhere. The regime's grip is still incredibly strong, but the seeds of change are being planted. An entire generation is growing up with a dual reality, the one the state shows them, and the one they see on their hidden screens. They are learning to think critically, to question authority, and to dream of a different life. The power of Kim Jong-un is built on a foundation of lies. As those lies are exposed, one by one, the foundation weakens. The process is slow, secret, and filled with peril for those involved. We may not see the results tomorrow, or even next year. But the change is happening from the inside out, in the minds and hearts of the North Korean people. The question is no longer if this isolated kingdom will change, but when and how. The Iron Fist can control people's bodies, but it's finding it harder and harder to control their minds. Thanks for watching. If you found this look inside North Korea interesting, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most hidden places.